Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Okay, I'll bite. In the last 24 hours, not one but two quarterbacks projected to be among the top in this upcoming draft have been linked to the New Orleans Saints. Cam Ward was in New Orleans for the Manning Award ceremony, made some comments that have gotten a lot of attention. And then on Tuesday, that was Monday night. On Tuesday, Mel Kiper puts out his mock draft, and he has Jaxson Dart of Ole Miss going to the Saints at number 9. Okay, so we'll analyze. Let's just go chronologically. Cam Ward, Monday in New Orleans, Manning Award ceremony. He's asked about his visit with the New Orleans Saints at the Combine. Here's what he says.
It was a great meeting, especially, if you get a chance to go play with a Super Bowl coach like Coach Moore. He knows how to dial up the playbook. But I just think the biggest thing that I took away from that meeting is that you just got to be prepared at all times, whether you go in as a starter or you go in as a backup. You never know when your number is going to be called. But it was a great meeting with them. The Saints, they were one of my favorite teams growing up when I was little. I love watching Drew Brees and Colston out there. So, it'll be a dream of mine to play for them, if I get a chance someday. But that's not really my main focus right now.
Okay. It'd be a dream to play for them someday. It's not my focus. Says all the right things, and he's right to say them. Cam Ward was great this season. Set an ACC record, 4,300 yards, 39 passing touchdowns. The first time an ACC quarterback ever led the FBS in passing touchdowns. So, great season, great player. A lot of people projected Cam Ward to go number 1 overall. Okay. For the Saints, let's be honest, Cam Ward's not fallen to 9. So if the Saints were going to draft him, let's say hypothetically you have to trade up to the number 1 pick. There's a couple of questions you got to answer. Number 1 is, what would you have to trade to get there? Thankfully, we don't have to look in the too far distant past to find an example of what it would take to go from 9 to 1. Because Carolina did it 2 years ago. Carolina had the 9th pick. They traded up to the 1st pick. Here's what Carolina gave Chicago. DJ Moore, Pro Bowl wide receiver, legit number 1, DJ Moore. Their 2023 first rounder, the 9th overall pick. Their 2023 second rounder. Their 2024 first rounder. And their 2025 second rounder. Y'all, that's the rate, right? That was 2 years ago. There's the rate. You're going to do a pick swap this year, give up this year's 2, next year's 1, the following year's 2, and a Pro Bowl player. You got the stomach to do that, to draft Cam Ward? Now, I'd ask it to you this way. Would you do that deal for Joe Burrow? Would you? Would you do that deal for Joe Burrow? Would you do a pick swap in the first round, a 2, the next year's 1, and the following year's 2, and a player? Of course you would. Of course you would. Because you have an elite franchise quarterback for the next decade plus. Would you do that deal for Bryce Young? And the answer, knowing what you know now, is unequivocally not. So it's all about risk mitigation. If the Panthers could go back and undo that deal, they would absolutely undo that deal. They'd do it for C.J. Stroud, not for Bryce Young. And maybe Bryce Young ends up being good, but file that away. You got to trust your scouting, but the bottom line is, even if you did a deal like that, to go up to 1 to take Cam Ward, you have forfeited so much draft capital, and we already know your cap situation is a mess, whereby you wouldn't even have the ability to build a competent roster around that player if you moved up to take him at 1. I am very much in favor of drafting quarterbacks. I'm not going to come across as hypocritical. I've told you that. You got to draft quarterbacks, got to draft them every year till you hit, unless you're willing to take one in round 1. But trading up from 9 to 1, the price is too steep for that amount of risk, because you don't have a roster built around that player yet to where what you need is that young quarterback. If you had the roster and you needed the quarterback, like if you were Minnesota, You got the roster, you don't have the quarterback. That makes sense. You're San Francisco. You got the roster, you don't, before Purdy, right? They hit on Purdy and they were lucky, but you're getting to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G and you're thinking, man, what if we went up to 1 and got an elite quarterback to pair with all this talent? That makes sense. New Orleans, you got one of the worst rosters in the NFL to begin with. And now if you're going to go trade up to number 1, you're depleting your draft capital and your cap situation's terrible and your roster's bad. It just doesn't make a lick of sense. So, no, I can't see any reason where that would make sense to trade up for a player like Cam Ward or anybody in this draft. Now, we mentioned the other bit of the opinion that's getting a lot of attention. Mel Kiper, in his latest mock draft, has the Saints at number 9, taking Jaxson Dart. And he notes it's a surprise pick and talks about Derek Carr's restructured contract, and he's there for another year. But what happens after that makes the case that this could be the right time. As a matter of fact, here was Mel Kiper on Get Up talking about his pick of Dart to the Saints.
Nobody's talking me out of this one, Granny. Jaxson Dart locked into the Saints at 9 for me right now. I think when you look at Jaxson Dart, the improvement, completion percentage up every year. Okay, interceptions down, and he maintained that at 5.6. Touchdowns up every year. Jaxson Dart with his legs, 1,500 rushing yards the last 3 years. Okay, 8 rushing touchdowns 2 years ago. That's the underrated part of Jaxson Dart's game. This is an NFC now, adding Jaden and Caleb, Michael Penix Jr., the division with Penix Jr., and 2 number 1s overall, Baker and Bryce Young. And now you get Jaxson Dart. You got to keep up with the division, Greeny. The Saints, you get new coach, new quarterback coming in together.
Okay. So Kiper, gushing about Jaxson Dart now. I'm curious, what changed from January the 22nd to today? What are we talking about, 6 weeks? The football season's been over. Jaxson Dart's long college career had been over already. What changed from January 22nd to today? Why January 22nd? Because Mel Kiper put out a mock draft on January 22nd. Not only did he not have Jaxson Dart in the top 10, he didn't have Jaxson Dart in the first round. So you mean to tell me you went to the Pajama Olympics and watched Jaxson Dart and now all of a sudden he's a top 10 pick? I don't buy it. Not a lick. I'm okay drafting Jaxson Dart. You want to use a 2 or a 3 on Jaxson Dart? Okay. Not at 9 overall. How in the world, Mel Kiper, do you get to that conclusion where you go from a guy being outside of round 1 a month ago, not at the start of this isn't a Joe Burrow at the start of the 2019 season where he's a day 3 pick, boom, hits the parabolic run up, and then now he's the first pick. It ain't that. This is last month, right? Or 6 weeks ago. So there's 3 questions. Number 1, do you think Dart's a top 10 pick? He was productive in Lane Kiffin's offense, and Lane Kiffin's coached a lot of good quarterbacks to productive seasons. Blake Sims, Jake Coker won a national championship with Lane Kiffin calling plays. Jalen Hurts is a freshman. Matt Barkley at USC. Now Jaxson Dart. He's had good ones, no doubt. But again, massive jump. I don't know what the Saints board looks like. I don't think they'll have Jaxson Dart as a top 10 pick. Number 2 is, where do the Saints value Jaxson Dart? They did interview Dart at the Senior Bowl, so they are certainly curious about Dart, if not altogether interested. But the real question is, at what level do you think this is a top 10 pick? Does Jaxson Dart fit Kellen Moore's style? Look at the quarterbacks he's coached in the NFL. Dak, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. Now he's coming to a place where he's got Derek Carr. All 4 of those guys are all very different stylistically. There's some similarities and overlap, but none of them is a cookie cutter of the other. So I think Kellen Moore can adapt to any style of quarterback. That I don't worry about. It's, number 1, do you think, is Jaxson Dart a top 10 pick? Number 2, how much do the Saints value Dart? That's number 2. And then number 3, does taking a quarterback at 9 help you win now? And you know the answer to that is no. And it doesn't matter what I think or what you think or what the Saints say. Actions speak louder than words. Say it all the time. And the Saints' actions map to a team that is trying to win now. They're not looking at 2026 and beyond. They're trying to win now. It's why they restructured Derek Carr. It's why they freed up cap space, restructured all the deals, kicked more money down in the future. so that they could re-sign Chase Young, so they could bring in some free agents while they traded for Devon Gottschall, while they signed Justin Reed. They are trying to win now. They are effectively saying the reason we were a 5-win team a year ago isn't because we had the wrong guys. It's our coaches were bad and we were injured. So get healthy and get new coaches. Voila, contender. Now, I think that's a big pile of cow poop because I think this team stinks. They're old with a bunch of bad contracts. You got a mid-quarterback, and you ain't going anywhere. You're ceiling 7-8 wins. Ceiling. Best 7-8 wins this year. You're not winning anything. But the Saints, it's not what I think. It's what do the Saints think, what might they do at 9? The Saints think they're contenders. And if you think you're a contender such that you're willing to sacrifice future years of the cap to restructure Derek Carr and other deals, to go sign Justin Reed, to re-sign Chase Young in $51 million, to give Juwan Johnson $30 million, you're not using the 9th pick on a future asset. You're using the 9th pick on someone you think can give Derek Carr a weapon on the outside like Teteroa McMillan. Or you're taking an edge rusher. Or you're taking Tyler Warren. Like, that's what they're going to do at 9. Anything other than that would stun me. Listen, if they feel like Jaxson Dart is the next Joe Burrow, awesome. Take him. And I'd be okay with that. I'm not okay trading up for Cam Ward. If you go through your scouting process and you think Jaxson Dart is a top 10 pick and has that kind of grade and you take him, okay. I mean, Saints have taken a first-round pick on a quarterback once in their history. It's never happened in my lifetime. I was born in 82. I'm 42 years old. They've never taken one in my lifetime. It's staggering. So yeah, if you see one and you're committed to him bullish, pull the trigger. Falcons just did it. Everybody laughed at him. But if they hit on Penix, nobody's going to be laughing in hindsight. Everybody laughed at the Packers when they took Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love because they had quarterbacks. They took a player they liked and it worked. So if you love him, okay, take him at 9. You can't move up because you can't give up all those assets to do it. But if you love the player at 9, great. I just don't think the Saints love the player at 9. And I think they're trying to take someone that's going to help win now because that's what all their actions map to. Maybe Kiper's out there just getting clicks. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.